Welcome to the Gamespherecast. I'll be your host today, Paradox. And joining me today, who are you?
I am Biff, the one and only.
The one and only, except for that guy from Back to the Future. But we don't talk about him.
No, we don't talk about him. He's the no.
So, speaking of the one and only, today we're going to be talking about a franchise that has made its debut to the silver screen, but has decided that wasn't bad enough. And now we have a 2020 version. No, 2021. Man, this has been a long pandemic.
Yes. Honestly, the entire past year just feels like
I feel like it's just been two years as one.
Honestly, I don't know. I can't remember a single thing that's happened in like the past year. I just feel like I went through a whole like a big time skip, you know. Oh man. Okay.
It's like the beginning of the last arc of Bleach. Just 17 months have passed by.
No. Or like the in between Young Justice, like in between season 1 and 2. It's just like 5 years later.
Oh gosh. We always find our way back to that, don't we?
All right. Anywho, I can't remember if you already mentioned it, but Mortal Kombat. That is what we're talking about today.
Yep.
The series known for blood, gore, and cheesy lines.
Fatality. Which I can't believe they managed to squeeze somebody saying fatality into the movie.
It's not even just fatality. I think they managed to squeeze in a lot of like the ending phrases. Like I think at one point Kano goes, "Kano wins," and like stuff like that.
Maybe. I'm not super familiar with Mortal Kombat. So my only chance to really get into the games was my 14th birthday. My parents, and knowing my parents, I was surprised that they bought me this. They bought me the complete, the complete complete edition or whatever, which is like 3 Mortal Kombat games. I think it was like, I can't even remember what they were now, but I'll pop up a picture if I can find one of it. It was like just these 3 Mortal Kombat games, and I'm like, okay, cool. I've never played before. Played it once, and then my brother traded our PS2, all of the games, including all 3 Mortal Kombat games, to our cousin for a car that was a hunk of junk, and he never ended up like doing anything with. So it's like, thanks,
Rip.
man. Thanks.
That sucks.
Those were my games too.
I mean, yeah, I've played Mortal Kombat before. I've never owned it though, but I've played it at like friends' houses and stuff like that.
Like, I know some characters. I had no idea who the heck Kano was until watching the movie, but I could recognize, what was it, Melina, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero, and like maybe a couple others, but I'm not super familiar with the franchise.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we should just get right into it.
Yep.
So I'm thinking I'm thinking we'll do this with spoilers. So.
Oh, definitely. I don't think there's ever been. Here on the Gamespherecast, we do not avoid spoilers. So if you're watching this, like, the movie's been out for like what, a week?
Mm-hmm.
So like, if you haven't seen it, go see it, or like, you know, wait until you can see it if it's not available in your area. But I mean, like, most places there's at least like one theater open that you can go to. So like, go see it.
Yeah. Although even if it is spoiled for you, it's a pretty visual movie. So I mean, even if you know this plot, it's not like the plot is the main highlight. Like...
Oh no, the plot is. Oh boy, we're gonna just put more like thought into discussing the plot than they did writing it.
Yep. All right. So starting off, the film opens up on Sub-Zero and soon to be Scorpion, and I think Sub-Zero, I forgot his real name.
I think his name is Bahan.
Bohan, something like that.
Bohan.
He's trying to wipe out Scorpion's clan, and I already forgot It was Hanzo, right? Hanzo?
It was Hanzo Hazashi.
Yes, that. He wipes out his wife and one of his children, and then he wipes out him.
When I first saw mention of Hanzo, like my only thought was of Overwatch as a Hanzo and Genji, and then he like mentions he mentioned like the compound, and that just like made me think of the first like trailer for the game where like it was the cinematic of Hanzo and Genji fighting at the not the Hazashi compound but the Hamada compound. Very, very similar name though.
Yeah, Sub-Zero's out to get all the Hanzo mains. No.
All the Hanzo mains. It's funny because towards the end, he even like does the fire dragon attack. Scorpion does, and I'm just like Ryuga Woga Teki Wakao.
Actually, it was Liu Kang that did the dragon attack.
Liu Kang. Oh, it was him. See, I seen this movie once, and I don't even care to remember who did the attack because it looks cool, but it really doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, they both have like fire powers, so I could see the confusion.
Oh, that reminds me.
Anyway,
a little out of order, but I was cracking jokes like the entire time because I went to go see it with some friends, and like after we got out of the movie and like we're about to head out, and I look at my friend and I'm like, imagine at the moment where Scorpion stabs Sub-Zero towards the end, and he just yells, "It's fucking raw!"
Jeez.
Just like in Gordon Ramsay's voice.
I mean, yeah. Anywho, right after the opening scene, which I actually thought was pretty good, I just don't really have anything to complain about, really. I mean, it was pretty short, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, right after the opening scene with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, it opens up on Cole Young, who is the main protagonist of the film. What are your thoughts on him?
Everything just kind of happens to this guy. Like, I'm not sure, like, if you really know, like, all the different terms for, like, writing and stuff, but he's, I guess what you would call a passive protagonist rather than an active protagonist. Like, he does...
Like, he reacts rather than
he reacts
acts.
He reacts to everything going on around him rather than being the one who drives things forward.
Right.
Like,
which I think that's actually...
to make it seem like he's driving things forward, but really he doesn't have any control of what's going on.
Yeah, which I think is actually one of the main complaints that people are having about the movie, is just like how he doesn't really do anything. And, people are saying that that's just because he's one of those characters
in
the place of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, going through this movie, I don't know, kind of joking that he's sort of like a the entire thing was sort of like a self-insert like fan fiction.
Kind of.
Like someone decided to like put their like OC into like Mortal Kombat, and they're like, oh yeah, he has connections, he's gonna immediately meet all of these like characters, and he's gonna like have his own special power.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Arcana was weird with how that worked.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't really explained well, but I mean, whatever. And it does kind of, I guess, maybe give an explanation as to how like some people can just like do these like, things that like don't make any sense.
I guess, like, I can give a pass for most things, but literally Jack's crappy robot arms just like becoming better robot arms.
Oh my god! When that happened, I was laughing so much.
You cannot excuse this. Unexplained magic BS or not, you can't just be like what was it? Like the whole thing of like you can't create matter or destroy it.
Right.
Just change it from one form into the other. It's just like, nah, this is Mortal Kombat. We spell our name with a K. We don't care about laws.
Yeah, cause, yeah, especially Jax's Arcana in particular. Like, what is it? Because, so, if you think about it, does that mean that if he never, like, had his arms ripped off, then he would have never figured out what it was? Or, another theory, a theory that my friends and I had, was that maybe his power is just, like, technological, like, augmentation or something?
Maybe.
Or maybe technological control on just like a minor level or something of that sort.
Even so, though, like that wouldn't have fixed his broken mechanical arms.
Yeah, I think personally I would have just given him the strong arms from the beginning. Also, another thing that's completely unexplained, there's just these, like, I guess you could call them monks even, or just, like, these, like, warriors living in, like, some desert in the middle of nowhere, and they just have the technology and capacity to just make these, like, really advanced prosthetics. Even if they're very weak in the beginning, they still work and function as, like, limbs. Like...
Like, it'd be kind of cool if, like, he could have just, like, if with his natural arms he could have done something similar, maybe not technological, but just like augmentation. That would have been interesting. It'd have been, I'd imagine it like similar to Chad from Bleach.
Actually, I'm not familiar with Bleach too much.
So there's a bunch of different powers and stuff in Bleach, which I feel like they explain it better in there, but at this, again, it's just like a lot of it's just like it happens. But there's these characters called they have this thing called the Fullbring in Bleach. I'm going to try and briefly explain it. It's this item that gives them a certain power and, like, usually augments part of them or something. And for him, it's his skin. Like, he's proud of, like, he's like this he's like this Mexican dude in Japan, so like he's proud of his darker skin tone, and like his skin is his Fullbring and allows him to, like, when he activates it, he gets these two different superpowered arms. There's like the right arm of the giant and the left hand of the devil, or I might have those backwards, but it's like he just can augment his arms and he can punch real good. And, like, I think a few other things, like, one of the main things in Bleach is, like, being able to do, like, energy attacks or whatever, but...
Yeah.
Something kind of like that.
To be fair to the people making Mortal Kombat, I guess they did not explain it at all. So, you know, maybe in the next movie. Because I heard there's supposed to be, like, 5 more or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, they might explain it better.
Looking at a bit of a Justice League situation here.
Yeah.
Like, yo, we gotta roll these out.
Oh God.
So we don't.
Is there gonna be a like a? Is there gonna be like a Snyder cut of the Mortal Kombat movie?
Here's the 4-hour version that makes things better. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
You know, I find it hilarious that, like, people were glad to sit down for the 4 hours of the Snyder Cut, but when they first announced that Endgame was going to be 3 hours, everybody was like, what? Like, maybe it's the fact that they released it on HBO Max and didn't expect you to sit in theaters for 3 hours without peeing.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Endgame came out first, right? So maybe people are just, like, more used to it or conditioned to it or something like that.
I mean, there are people that, like, binge watch the Lord of the Rings movies, and those are really long. Like, watch them in one whole sitting. Can't even imagine. But back to Mortal Kombat.
Right.
You viewer, listener, may notice that we're not really keeping on track, and that's because, one, we never do, and two, because it's hard to, like, find anything to focus on in this movie aside from random points, because, like we said before, the story's not anything, like, to write home about. It's a pretty basic,
honestly,
like,
it's
chosen one sort of thing with, like, some interesting stuff to it. Really, the only thing that got me through the movie was Kano, because he was the best character in my opinion.
Yeah, he was sort of the comedic relief. But honestly, the entire movie just sort of felt like it was like filler, and then it was like fights, and then filler to get like from fight to fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think overall, I think I felt the movie was entertaining. I think so, mostly because
Yeah.
of the fights and like all the fatalities and stuff.
Speaking of fatality, the first time you get to see, what was his name? The guy with the hubcap hat.
I was literally just thinking, was it Kung something?
Shoot.
Gosh, it's Kung Lao, right?
I think so.
Yes, Kung Lao.
Okay. So like Kung Lao, he throws his hat into the ground and like runs the lady through it, kind of similar to like one fatality he usually has, except like of course they couldn't. The one thing they wanted to get realistic was that he couldn't just like spin his hat into the ground like a saw blade and run somebody through it. But they still like had him drag somebody through it.
Yeah.
And cut them in half.
I mean,
with the one character that had like 2 scenes, and their second scene was just them dying.
Who was it that he killed again? It was that like it was like that random character that like
it was like the harpy person.
Yeah, the person who was like introduced in one scene and then like died in the next.
Yeah. Also, I find it weird, right, that there's like all of this is Chinese except for like Cole and Scorpion, who were Japanese.
Yeah, because Cole is
because they made a big thing
Scorpion's
about
descendant.
When Sub-Zero was like gloating to him that he was gonna kill off his family line or whatever, and then he's just like, "I have no idea what you're saying, but I'm gonna kick your butt."
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, but I am going to kill you.
Chinese and Japanese are only similar literally on paper, because I believe Japanese borrows a lot of characters from Chinese.
Well, I mean, okay, that actually makes sense, though, right? That they can't understand each other.
Yeah.
So I don't have too much issues with that part specifically.
So it's also interesting, though, that Sub-Zero can speak Japanese, because he speaks Japanese. There's literally like one line he says, and it says he speaks in Japanese, and then he's like apparently speaking Chinese the entire rest of the time. When like, why? If he could speak Japanese and be understood, why wouldn't he just speak Japanese?
Are you talking about Sub-Zero right now?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
right
the opening scene did start.
It shows when he's speaking in Japanese and when he's speaking in Chinese. And
Right. Well,
like one thing Japanese.
The opening. You mean in the very beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe he only knows like hello or something.
What?
I don't know. Maybe he only knows that one line in Japanese.
And so it's a very specific line. It's a very specific phrase. Like, I believe it's either like when he's outside after he first stabs somebody, or like it's something he says to Hanzo Hazashi's like wife and kid or something. I forget what, but like it just seems really weird that he speaks in Japanese once and then like chooses to speak in Chinese the entire rest of the time, like just because he wouldn't be able to understand him. Like, I don't
know. I don't remember the beginning of the movie to like such specifics, so I'm not really sure. But
that my brain picks out really weird things, and that was a really weird detail that just like they mention like
it could have been maybe an error. It could have been an error in the subtitles, maybe. Like they meant to write Chinese, but they wrote Japanese by accident.
Maybe, but then why would they specify later that he was also speaking Chinese?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's a detail that stuck out to me. But
yeah,
no, the story's pretty basic. Visuals were pretty good.
A lot of things in this story don't really make sense at all.
No, the pacing is abysmal. Like, just things happen. Like, first there's the fight with Sub-Zero, like, chasing after Cole. He rips off Jack's arms. Or no, he doesn't rip him off.
He freezes him off.
And then breaks him, and then just, like, leaves him there. And then
well, I mean, to be fair, he does push him over the edge, and he, like, hits a thing, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah, he does, but, like, the warrior that Sub-Zero is, like, you would think he would make sure he was dead.
Yeah, especially with, like, all the fatalities they do, you know?
Then again,
you'd think that he would have,
didn't
like,
make
taken
sure
him out.
that Hanzo was dead. And Hanzo managed to get, like, live a little bit after there. So maybe that's...
Yeah, although, to be fair, I don't think he was expecting, Hanzo to just, like, disintegrate into fire and go to hell, you know?
Yeah. Well, what else? Like the fact that Kano just happened to know
well, for one
where
thing,
the
actually, I've been watching like a few other reviews that people have had, and someone pointed out. Oh yeah, so I've been like looking at a bunch of other reviews that people have had, and some interesting things that other people have brought up is for one thing, the main character's superpower is literally plot armor.
Yeah.
like okay,
Oh,
I
so
I just don't
talk
understand
about his power real quick. Something super dumb. It's
Okay.
like the little baton blade things he has. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why does he have those? There's no reason for him to have those. There's no reason to believe he would know how to use them properly, let alone, like, have them in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, maybe if he had a background, like, as a cop or something, which would have been a much more interesting story than him being, like, an underground, like, MMA fighter or whatever the heck, who sucks.
Yeah,
Like,
or
they
just
don't
past
give
his
any
prime.
reason for him to have those, or even know how to use them.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess you could say it's part of his power, but like, yeah, he shouldn't know how to use them. And also, like, I mean, all the other arcanas don't really
Yeah.
They all seem a lot simpler, you know. Like Kano has his laser eye, Cabal can move fast.
Yeah, like that's an easy thing. Like you just look and go bzzz.
Whereas his is like he can summon like vibranium armor from Black
Pretty
Panther.
much.
And he gets like a tonfa and is that
Yeah,
what it's called?
it is.
A tonfa
it is like from
and
Black
a
Panther because he can just like it's like it's also kind of like
it
Fat
takes in
Gum
kinetic
from
energy
My
and then he
Hero
could like
Academia
release it
because he has the ability to like it's not absorption, it's a weird thing, it's adsorption, which I didn't realize was a word at first, but MHA like the way they describe Fat Gum's ability in MHA is like he can like take in the energy, but like it doesn't go into him, it just builds up rather than like him taking it and dispersing throughout him. I think is the difference between absorption and adsorption.
Is that an actual word or is it just like the name they gave his quirk?
It is. Literally, like they brought it up in My Hero Academia with this character I'm talking about, Fat Gum. He's this really big guy, but like as he like takes in the energy, like his body becomes more normal because the fat is taking it and redirecting the energy for him. And then like he just goes and punches this guy like Saitama and like all the energy is redirected.
Saitama from One Punch Man?
Yes. Speaking of, didn't Kano make a reference to that?
To what?
To Saitama. I feel like he made a reference to Saitama in the movie. I might be misremembering.
I don't remember that. He
think
does
he
make a
did.
lot of references though. He talks about Harry Potter and like all this other stuff.
Yes, he did. But like, what was I saying? About the adsorption thing. So yeah, it's kind of like that where like the energy like is taken in, but it's not dispersed. It just like builds up until he decides to release it.
Right. Yeah. So he basically has a Black Panther suit, but only for his upper torso.
Yeah.
Or his torso in general, I guess. And his arms.
Torso and his arms, but not his fingers.
I actually don't. What would you call like a tonfa, but like it's a blade?
What do you mean?
Because that's what his thing is, right? One of them, like one of the weapons he has, is just like a stick, and the other one is like a knife, isn't it?
Yeah.
I actually don't know if there is a name for that. Yeah, I have no clue. I guess it's called the Blade Tonfa. I don't know if that's a real thing, though. Huh, interesting. Anywho, so yeah, he has these magical weapons that show up. And then he beats Goro in a very anticlimactic manner, which is kind of disappointing because I think Goro was the main antagonist in either one or some of the games. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I just know that he's supposed to be sort of a big deal, and he was just kind of bitch slapped by like the new character.
He was made out to be a big deal. It would have made more sense for like him to like lay a smackdown on him, but not be able to kill him, or like have him come back later instead. Which I mean, they kind of hinted they were going to do that anyways, because he's like death isn't permanent for these guys or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like,
which is definitely like kind of a cop out, like.
Yeah,
because now
on one hand, like
it doesn't matter.
It makes respawning canon, but like
yeah, because but I don't think the humans respawn, so it's just I don't know, it's kind of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
Mm.
Also, the fact they bring Cable in, but like there's literally like no reason for anyone.
You mean Cabal?
Cable. Pfft.
Yeah, when you said Cable, I was like, what? Like from Marvel? Like what? When?
I mean, if you combine Jax and Kano, you got a pretty close character to Cable.
You mean Jackson Cabal? Cable or Cabal?
No, Kano. Just like the way he looks.
Oh, you mean like with the laser eye?
Kano
yeah, because. Oh yeah, the way they look definitely,
the laser
but
eye, like the mechanical arms.
His personality is completely different. Cable's all serious.
No, Cabal.
I actually really like the way Cabal looked. He looks pretty faithful to his video game counterpart, and
bring him up, and he's like, "Oh hey, I know Kano. He's an a-hole. Also, I think I can get him to betray them." Like maybe if there was like more to that, like I don't know, something to like explain, like one, him being on the bad guy's side, and two, explaining like his connection with him, other than just like he's the guy who like made me need equipment to breathe. Like, okay,
yeah, just like, a lot of the bad guys, especially the during like the later half, like the new ones that they bring in, like Cabal and the Harpy lady and the guy with the hammer. They get like no development at all, really. I think actually out of those, Cabal is probably the one that gets the most development, even more so than
they
like
did
Polina.
a really dumb joke with like the hammer guy, like just in Jack's face, and he's like, "Man, your breath stinks." Like, why? You wasted 5 seconds for that. Why? It adds nothing to the film. It's not even really that funny. It's just
they gotta quip.
It's a bad quip. Back to what I was saying though about like Cabal and Kano, is like Kano's betrayal really is like there's no weight to it at all. Because it's like they didn't even try to make it seem like maybe he was starting to like redeem himself and be a good guy. No, it's just like
he was like an asshole the entire time.
Everything this guy has done is completely selfish, and like him doing that is perfectly within his character. So like there's no weight to it. Also, the fact that this like magical statue thing that was preventing one of the most powerful beings of the other realm from getting through, he could just, like, use his laser beam on and blow it up.
Yeah.
Unless it really didn't matter, and it was just, like, the fact of, like, the ancient laws or whatever, like, preventing him from getting through, and, like, he could have just walked through otherwise. Like, and how they just like casually mention the elder gods like once and then like has like absolutely no significance again.
Yeah, I know, because like he like Raiden, his name's Raiden, right? Yeah, Raiden keeps saying like oh yeah, I can't interfere because the elder gods or whatever can't interfere with the lives of like or with the tournament directly.
Yeah,
but then like but then he keeps interfering, and it's sort of like, okay, well, what can he do? You know, like what can he do, and what's you know, what can he not do?
It was very confusing when he showed up after Scorpion like descended into hell or whatever, because I thought that he was Scorpion basically, because again I have like no idea about the lore of this, because I just see Scorpion disappear and I see Hanzo disappear, and then suddenly this guy comes down in the lightning and I'm like, is he back? Is that him? Like,
I mean, no.
Like, I was completely confused.
Raiden's definitely. I mean, I knew a little bit about. I actually don't know anything about the lore really, but I do know the characters. So yeah, I knew that Raiden was a different character.
Anybody watching, no, it's not because Asian people look the same. It's literally just like they didn't properly explain what the heck just happened. Like, this guy just burns up and disappears, and suddenly somebody else appears. Like, there's.
I mean, to be fair, he did look very different.
Explain. I mean, yeah, but so did Scorpion when he showed up. He looked a lot different from when he died. Like, I don't know.
He was like, wearing a mask.
To me, it wasn't like. To me, it wasn't like explained like at all. Like, it just sort of happened, and it was like I was just confused. Just like, and then along came Zeus.
Yeah. Another thing that
for some reason
I don't really understand is like, so her name was Sonya Blade, right? Sonya just gets like her Arcana like right after killing Kano.
Yeah.
Like everyone else had to go through this big like discovery process, you know, and then she just gets it.
I mean, it wasn't even really a discovery process, like.
Oh yeah.
Kano just gets his from being
Kano argued about egg rolls or something.
Like, yeah, and like Cole was just like, my family's gonna die.
Yeah, he just had a anime protagonist
not let that
moment.
Happen. Also, speaking of his family, like, why the heck did they drive into him?
What do you mean?
Like so his girlfriend or whatever, like, comes up and chops the orc guy in the leg, and then they run to the truck, and then instead of trying to drive away, you know, like a sane person would, to get away from the dangerous situation, because they were already trying to leave. Or no.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Like, instead of trying to get out of the situation, they decided to drive the truck into the guy.
Yeah. So basically, Goro goes after Cole's family. So they managed to get into the truck, and then instead of driving away, they decide to just drive straight into Goro. And you know, he's a big monster man, so he doesn't even get injured at all.
He's completely unfazed, and then he just like rips the door off, and they're like, "Ah!" And it's like, what did you expect to happen?
Yeah, doesn't he just, like, slap Cole away? Just, like...
Yes! And then he's just like, ah! But instead of going Super Saiyan, his plot armor comes out. And it's like,
right.
Okay.
Honestly, they could have given him a cooler power. I don't know.
They could have given... Speaking of him...
Or maybe even just the... maybe just the suit, just, like, without the weapons.
Maybe, yeah. Speaking of Cole... Like, how in the beginning he's just like, oh yeah, this is birthmark. Like...
Right, that's shaped exactly like a dragon, right?
Like, could they not have come up with, like, a better explanation than that?
What do you mean?
Like, he's the only one who has the mark because he was born from Hanzo's line. Like,
no, he's not the only one who has the mark. Everyone who is like a contender...
No. You misheard me. He's the only one who has the mark because of being a part of Hanzo's line. Everyone else gets their mark by killing somebody else who had the mark. My point is, like, he's the only one who inherited the mark. Why does that doesn't make any sense?
I guess, I don't know, the only way I could think of that happening is, like, maybe there's, like, multiple ways it can be transferred. So, like, I guess, okay, so maybe if
But they only show, like, you having to kill someone.
Yeah, you have to kill someone, or you just, like, randomly get it.
Yeah, like, you can randomly get it if you, like, prove yourself to be, like, worthy of it. But, like, what did he do? Literally, like...
Do you even have to prove yourself to be worthy, or do some people just have it?
I mean, I guess some people just have it, but, like, how would they get it? Like, you wouldn't think that somebody would be born with it, because you would think, like, they would be marked for it, right? After they, like, became, like, a worthy contender.
Honestly, I don't know.
Like, you can't
it's not very well explained why
like,
Cole has it since birth.
Fighter for, like, the tournament just from them being born, but, like, somehow because he's born of Hanzo Hazashi's, like, line, like, he's automatically a contender, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird, not really well explained. I was gonna say something, I forgot.
But yeah, you do definitely have to kill somebody, otherwise, she would have got, what the heck was her name? Sonya would have gotten it from, like, fighting him earlier.
What do you mean?
Well, didn't she take him down before? Who? Sonya? She took down Kano?
Well, no, you have to kill the person.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you literally have to kill somebody to get it, is the only other way that they show. It's like...
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe, like, if he survived to being an old person and then die from natural causes, maybe it's, like, passed down, but...
I guess, but then, like...
They don't really say that explicitly, so I'm just kind of...
Why did the baby have it, then? Because, like, didn't the baby have the mark?
I don't remember.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, unless somehow by Sub-Zero being a contender and, like, the whole feud with that, but that also is, like, very contrived.
Yeah, that's more or less my thoughts on the film. I had something else to say, but I completely forgot.
Because I interrupted you.
Yeah. So I guess final thoughts.
If you're not expecting anything from it, it can be fun to watch. But, like, as somebody who has expectations for video game movies, especially after the success of, like, Detective Pikachu and Sonic the Hedgehog, and probably some other examples of, like, adapting other mediums, like, this is definitely more of an Artemis Fowl, if you ask me.
I don't know if I would quite say it's that bad. I'd say it's definitely closer to the newer era of video game movies than the older one.
Yes.
With, like, the Super Mario movie. Overall, if you want to watch, like, a very, like, well written, like, deep story, this is not the film for you. If you just want to, like, watch, like, a bunch of, like, superhumans fight each other and, like, in, like, a super gory manner, then I think it's definitely worth watching.
I'd like to see somebody do a cut of this movie where, like, you know how there was the cut of, like, The Last Jedi, but without any female characters in it, or whatever? If somebody did this, but it was a cut of the movie where there weren't any scenes where they weren't fighting. So it's just like Mortal Kombat Battles Only Edition.
I feel like that wouldn't be that much shorter.
Probably not.
I feel like at least half the runtime was just fighting. But yeah, I mean, the plot serves its purpose in getting the characters, like, you know, from point A to point B to point C. But it's not very thought-provoking in any manner.
No.
And a lot of things just sort of happen without much explanation, or with just sort of like a
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, sort of just like a, hey, that happened because something random bullshit, magic, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm hoping that at least the next movie, like, takes its time more and is, like, more quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
they did,
I love a good fight scene, but as long as it's just, like, rushed, like, half the fight scenes were, like, especially towards the end where there was, like, they were cutting, like, between every 10 seconds of each fight. Like, that's boring.
Yeah. I think they definitely, in this, like, first movie, sort of laid the foundations for, like, the possibility of having, like, a very good sequel if they actually, like, put more effort into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, I mean, I'd probably give it, like, a 6 out of 10 overall. And if I'm only factoring in the fight scenes, maybe, like, a 7. But, I mean, the story, it does kind of suck.
You're being far more generous than me. I would say this is like a 4 for me.
I mean, I definitely got enjoyment out of it, so I'd say it's more than a 5. But all right, so that was our Mortal Kombat episode. Goodbye, everyone who's watching. I'm usually not the one who does the outro, so I'll let Paradox continue.
Okay. Since I'm taking over the role of host because of Steven's absence, follow us on Twitter at GCastAfickle, I believe is what our current tag is. Sometimes we post updates and stuff and announce when episodes are happening. You can also subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. If you want, you can check out my channel, Paradox Multimedia, and my Twitter at ParadoxMM_, where I do a lot more announcing stuff and do my own content. I do original music and occasional gameplay and stuff. Did you want to plug your Twitch?
Yeah, sure. So my Twitch is The Elbow Lord, capital T, capital E, capital L. Beginning of each word, no spaces, and I occasionally play games, mostly Bloons Tower Defense 6, which is a fun game.
Yeah, it sure looks it. Speaking of Twitch, I'm also on Twitch at ParadoxMM_ as well, because reasons. I've been mostly playing Minecraft, but trying to branch out into other stuff. That's pretty much it for this one, though. Hopefully we'll be able to start doing more consistent episodes soon. Sorry about the huge gap, but things happen, and of course we are still in a pandemic, so
and also
everyone's
college
schedule's
sucks
crazy.
and it's very time consuming.
Yes, there's that too. So thank you for watching, and how the heck do we end these? Remember to stay epic.
No, are we still doing the spherical thing?
Stay spherical.
Sure, and I'm Biff.
Paradox. We were doing so well.
Okay, episode over.